So in this video, we're going to walk through how our pivot function is going to work. And pivot is going to be a helper function that we use for quicksort. So this is similar to how we use the merge function as a helper function in merge sort. So to explain it, I'm going to bring up a list, except we'll show it like this. And what we're going to do in pivot is we're going to pick a pivot point. That's going to be the first item. Then we're going to have all the items that are less than the pivot value on one side and all the ones that are greater on the other side. And then we'll swap these, and this makes it where that 4 value is in the spot where it will be when the list is sorted. So pivot is going to do two things. It's going to get the list to this point where it looks like this, but it's also going to return the index of that 4 value. And we'll talk about why we're going to return the index instead of the value in a moment. But for now, I'm going to put this back like this, and we'll walk through how we're going to make this work. So we're going to have a pivot value, and then we're going to compare it to everything after that with a for loop. So the for loop is going to start here. We're going to call the variable in the for loop I. We're also going to have a variable that points at this pivot point. The variable is actually going to be called pivot index, but I'm just going to say pivot on the arrow here to make it fit. And we'll have another variable called swap index. I'll just call it swap on the arrow here, also to make that fit. And then we'll start running through the for loop. So the first value for I is greater than the pivot value, so we'll just color that in gray. And then I moves to the next index. Now this one is less than, so what we're going to do is move swap over 1, and then we'll swap the values at swap index and I like this. Then I will move forward again. This one's greater than. This one is less than the pivot index value. So we'll move swap up 1, and then we'll swap these two values. This is also less, so we'll move swap up, exchange these two, and then we get to the end of the for loop, and we're done with the I variable. So then what we're going to do is swap the items at the pivot index and the swap index like this. That puts 4 in the correct spot. And the only thing left to do is return that index, that swap index that is pointing to the 4. And this is everything that the pivot function is going to do. And the reason we return the index is when we run quicksort again on this side, we're going to do it from the beginning up to but not including the swap index. And then on the other side is going to be the swap index plus 1 to the end. So that is why we need to return the index. So we'll start coding this in the next video, but for now, that is our overview of pivot.